So I've been reading your comments and I agree. We do finally need to do something about Belfast. There have been a lot of really great suggestions for what we can do about Belfast. And so that is what I want to focus on at least a little bit today. Because the problem is extending into Dundalk, which is right here. It is extending into Dublin, which is right here. And generally, I am pretty sure we can fix a lot of this. But I also want to take a moment to mention that the changes that I made to the trains recently were sort of less made to, how would I put it? They weren't really changes made for people. So, I mean, obviously this is a cargo train, but it was more cost cutting that I was doing in terms of the efficiencies with the trains because we were just losing money. I know that there are efficiencies we can make to make the trains better for people. And I know that adding more trains will make things better for people, especially over in Belfast, which we'll talk about in just a second. But I just wanted to clarify that my changes to trains were made more so for me to save a bit of money rather than make more money, if that makes sense. Anyway, when it comes to Belfast, what I want to do is go in here. I want to go to our tram loop around Belfast. I want to manage those vehicles and I want to sell them because we don't need them anymore. I want to go and manage that line and delete tram loop Belfast 1, whatever. We just don't need it anymore. And we're going to go in and expand Upper Belfast right about here. So we're going to give it a few more little passenger platforms. We'll go 1, 2, we'll go 3 right about there. And then I also want to go through and just demolish all of the tram stops that we had around Belfast there. I'd also like to get rid of that road over there because I've hated that road for so long and I'm so glad to be done with it. We just don't need it anymore. And then all of these tram tracks need to go as well. We just don't want trams going around Belfast anymore. I know they look cool and I really like trams, honestly. I'd like to bring them back at some point, but for now, they are just not doing me any favors. They are really contributing to some of the traffic problems because they're much bigger vehicles and they tend to sort of sit in intersections a little bit longer than I would like. So getting rid of these guys is, for now, for the best. And you know, I'm also thinking that we have this space right here with a bunch of truck stops around it. We have Belfast Tools to City, we have Belfast Bricks to City, we have Belfast Fuel to City. Why don't we go in here and take out this road and then build ourselves a new little tiny stretch of road right about here. And we can put ourselves some kind of truck station on, oh, we can, well, actually, no, we can if I go for a really small truck station, which I never really do. I don't typically play around with small truck stations. The reason I want this is obviously so we have that extra little bit of road right there, which, I mean, you know, maybe we just get rid of this road as well. We are going to be moving that truck stop, so I think it's actually okay to get rid of that guy. We'll go for some longer platforms and we'll go for, we're putting 3 lines in here. We'll do 3 on the left and that should be all right. I would like to just expand this guy a little bit because I think it's going to look a little bit better. And I don't mind that, although I think we can improve it, obviously, with some little buildings around here. I think it's going to look just a little bit better if we go ahead and do all of that. We can do a little something down here if I want to, which I kind of do. I think we'll just do a little small building down there just so we have this nice footprint and everything looks nice and industrial. And I think we'll just go around and smooth the edges there just a little bit. So now what we can do is go ahead and move Belfast Bricks to City and say that instead of going to Green Lane after Broadway, it is going into this depot, which I think is going to be good. We do need to get rid of the Broadway, or sorry, the Green Lane stop right there. So now that's gone. I don't love that it's sort of cutting over itself. Not a huge fan of that, although not too sure that there's much I can do about it other than maybe flipping the line around, which I think might ultimately still contribute to it cutting over itself, but maybe that's okay. I think we'll leave it for now and just see how it goes. Belfast Tools to City is going to be the same story. It's going into here and School Lane is no longer needed. I'm also going to take out this waypoint just to, well, that's going to be important later. In fact, all of these waypoints can sort of go because, again, we're going to be making some changes there that I'm hoping will be very good for us. We can take out these stops though, which I think is fine. And I'm also wondering if this road right here should maybe have a few more lanes just to allow for all that traffic to go through. So I think we'll just upgrade this a little bit so that we have some turning lanes, and so hopefully traffic can move around that just a little bit better. All right, so the next thing I want to do is upgrade this road. I want this guy to have more lanes, which means this entire stretch of road just needs to go away. This tunnel is going to be brought back to about there. This guy's going to be brought back to about there. And what we're going to do is give ourselves a bunch of lanes right about there. Should be perfect. We don't need this to be connected to that quarry. We're not using it. We're probably not going to be using it. But I think just in case I decide to use it, it's probably for the best to maintain that connection. So that's sort of what I'm doing here. And I think I'm also going to I'm just going to get rid of this tunnel for a second. I'm going to put it back. We're not getting rid of the tunnel completely because it is actually going to come in really useful shortly. But what I'd like to do is bring this guy sort of straight off of there so we have a little bit of a nicer intersection to work with. And I'm also thinking that this road is going to be brought back, and we are going to bring this road back as well, because we can sort of bring this guy straight through, which I think is going to look a little bit better. So if we do this, we can hit this guy with a smoothing brush. A bit of a bigger smoothing brush is going to be kind of useful right about here. And then hopefully bring this straight through, which is remarkably steep, and I don't love that, but I think maybe that's not okay. Maybe this comes around a little something. I don't love that. Can I get this to curve? That looks, it's still quite steep, but I think I'm okay with that. And that's going to help traffic flow a little bit better in this space, because we are going to be directing traffic in a pretty substantial way down to this space in not too long at all. So let's get this guy changed into just there to a regular street, and let's see if I can do this. I absolutely can. So we're going to be keeping that tunnel, and we're just going to keep that connection, and that's going to give us a little bit more room for traffic coming through here, which I think is huge. And now we're going to do something that's potentially a little bit controversial. This roundabout, now there are some changes we can make to this roundabout that will make it better, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of it. And I'm going to have this road bridge over this road. That's my grand plan right here. That is how I'm going to try and make this happen and make this work. So this all needs to go way back to about there. And then we need to get a slightly smaller brush and a stronger brush and flatten this terrain the entire way through. Now, the reason this road needs to go under and this one can't just go over is obviously because we have an airport right here. So what's going to happen is we're going to have some collisions with the flight path. So we do need to go lower for this guy. We're going to bring it sort of straight through here. And then this guy is going to need to connect to it right about there. So it's a little bit of a mess right now. I think we can go in and maybe just erase a bunch of these trees so I can sort of see what I'm doing. And then all I need to do is essentially freeform this road into, I want to say, that space. And then we sort of freeform it through this space, which I'm hoping is going to be good. And then some way, somehow, we bring it down, we connect it to there, and that looks, I don't like that curve that's going on there. Not a huge fan of that. So this guy is going to come straight down. It's going to be kind of steep, but that's okay. This is going to be terrain. We're not going to be doing a bridge there. And in theory, that's kind of what I'm looking for. That's essentially the connection that we're going for. And then this road can be reconnected, and it is going to be a regular old bridge. Hopefully I can get something. I mean, that looks, I don't love that. I like this one though. Very big fan of that bridge, as we know. So that's going to do what I want it to do. We can go in here and smooth out all of the damage that I've done to the terrain around here. And we'll put some trees in there in just a little bit. That's not really a priority that I have right now. So we'll just focus on the terrain itself. All right, so the next step of my Belfast revitalization project, as we're going to call it for whatever reason, is adding a bunch of bus stops. So I'm going to go here, and we're basically going to do 3 different looping bus lines that go around Belfast. I'm going to put stops super close together so that we actually have some pretty good coverage in here. Now, I would like to come down here, I think. I think it'd be a really good idea to cover this side of things. I think we'll use a line going around this neighborhood to do that though, instead of this one. So this guy's going to come in, it's going to go down, it's going to go around. It is going to come up into, let's say, this spot as well. I don't necessarily think it needs to cross the road to this part of town, although that might not be the worst thing in the world, but we can probably just have a bus line that loops around that upper part of Belfast. So we'll go to here. We are going to come across to about here, and we're going to have 2 stops in this little space, and it's going to go back to the station. So then coming out of here, we want to go into this neighborhood. We'll have a stop here. We'll have a stop here. That gives us some pretty good coverage. We'll have a stop sort of down this way. We can have a stop on this road as well, which I know is super close to everything we're doing already, but that's all right. We'll do one, let's say, here as well. We'll do one coming out of that neighborhood. And then we'll do another one coming back. So it's going to stop opposite that one. It's going to come in and it's going to go to the station and then back out and sort of continue what it was doing. Our third bus line for Belfast is going to come out of the station. It's going to go up to, I want to say here. I would like it to sort of come through this space. So we'll say, let's do a stop right about there. This bus line can then go down to the docks and either pick up or drop someone off right about there. It is then going to come back. It's going to follow pretty much exactly the same route coming back here. It's going to go to this stop again. I want it to then come out onto this avenue and go up into this part of town. So it's going to stop in here. It is going to go and stop way out here. It can come back. And again, it's sort of going to stop in the same spot. It's going to come around, and I want it to go into this space now. So you can kind of see where I'm going with this. You can kind of see how this is going to work. These buildings are all going to go away because I want to put a bus stop on that bit of road. I want it to come over into this space as well because I think that's probably for the best. So we'll have it come across. We'll have it stop here. We'll have it stop down there. We'll have it stop sort of on the way out. Do I want to bring it back the same way I took it in there? I don't know that I do, although it could sort of come down onto this this avenue, which might not be the worst thing in the world. There's a lot of traffic on that road, but I think that'll be okay. And I think what we'll do is put a stop right there. It'll come out here, hopefully, and it'll just run back to the station. So that's going to be loop number 3, essentially. So if that wasn't obvious, essentially what we're looking at here is a line that runs from this guy. We're going to say platform number 1 to start with. It is going to come out to this side of the road. It is coming down here, over this way, and it's just following this this entire neighborhood the entire way around, back to Manchester Road and back to the depot. And that gives us a loop around that entire space. Essentially, we're going to do that 2 more times. And so just like that, this is Belfast loop number 1. This over here is Belfast loop number 2. And then over this way, we have Belfast loop number 3, which is admittedly going in here for some reason, which is a choice. I don't know that I agree with that choice. Is this a one-way road by any chance? Let me just see. If I change this out, yeah, that might have been a one-way road. That certainly improves things just a little bit, but that should hopefully end up getting a lot of people going around the place in a pretty good way. But there's some ways we can help with that. There are some things we can do to make it easier for buses to go around. Obviously, we don't have any buses yet, but what I'd like to do is look at some of my lines and see what they're doing. So Dundalk Fuel to City is the one I'm looking for here. This guy could probably be sent from Kingsway down here. No, I didn't want to make a new line. I want to say that after Kingsway, you are going here. And then after Belfast West, or after maybe that waypoint. In fact, you know what? Let me just take out these all of these waypoints, actually. So after Kingsway, I want you going there. After Belfast West, I want you going there. And then that should bring that line down through Belfast, if I'm not mistaken. It absolutely does. So while it is still running through Belfast to get out to the train station, it is avoiding that main road completely, which is something I'm trying to figure out here. So Fuel to City, for example, is, where is that one going? If we, let's see, Belfast East is over here. If we look at Dundalk Fueled City, that line could do exactly the same thing. So after Kingsway, we want to go here. After Belfast East, we want to go here. And now that guy's following the coastal route to get to Dundalk and to get to Belfast, which again takes it off of this road here, which means this road now has none of, there's none of my vehicles on this road, which I think is going to be good. I think that's an improvement. Now, another improvement that we can make would be to add some bus lines to Belfast, which is something that I completely forgot about. I've seen a few comments talking about this recently, and I'm so glad you remembered because I absolutely did not. This road in here is going to get some bus lanes, which means that road is only going to be used by my buses. I want to say that this road, I should also mention, actually, bus lanes aren't just bus lanes. They also get used by my trucks. So if I run bus lanes the entire way along here, those lanes are going to be solely for me, which is exactly what I want. I'm also going to go ahead and upgrade this road to have a few more lanes and then have some bus lanes so that I have some dedicated lanes to get in and out of here. That should mean that my buses move a little bit better. I'm going to do the same thing here, which apparently I can't do, which is a bit of a pain. Let's do this for a second and see if I can just rebuild this little stretch of road. I absolutely can. Very, very steep looking, but that should be all right. We'll add a stop here. We'll add a stop there. Is this working the way it should be? I want to say that it is, which is good. So we'll go ahead and say bus lanes and bus lanes so that once again, my vehicles can move the way I would want them to. And I'm going to rebuild this road as well. We were using it. I think my buses were coming down that road, but I'd like it to run in just a bit more of a straight line through here rather than the angle that it had going on. I think that's just going to be a little bit better for everything involved. And I think that's probably about the bulk of the bus lanes that we need. We could probably do with some in here as well. I don't have any vehicles on this bit of road, so we don't really need them there. I do think down through the middle of Belfast, we could do with a few of them at the very least, just to improve things. And I'm also thinking this road here is probably going to get a lot busier now that we have a lot of traffic being directed sort of under that bridge. So for one, we'll upgrade this to have 6 lanes. And then again, we're going to put some bus lanes on it so that everything just sort of works a little bit better for me. That's kind of all I care about right now. Now, Belfast is going to need a new road depot. So I'm thinking right out here is where it's going to live. And that reminds me, I want to make sure that this road is owned by me because I don't want these guys connecting to it. I want to make sure this is owned by me and this is all owned by me because I do not want anything connecting to those roads. That's going to be absolutely terrible if they do. So that should make things a little easier. I'm going to do the same thing here as well. I don't want anything connecting to those guys. I think that would be kind of terrible. I don't want anything connecting to this either because that would be kind of terrible. And I think we're probably good for the rest of Belfast to sort of grow whatever way it wants to grow. So let's get ourselves some vehicles. Let's figure out what we're going to be dealing with here. We have some options. We have the BK670, which is it's a bendy bus, capacity of 21 versus the 16 on the MAN SL192. So I kind of think this is probably the way to go. Higher capacity, runs until 2025 or built until 2025. The SL192 does feel a little bit more appropriate for Belfast. I think it would look better, but I think this guy with the higher capacity is what we're going to go for. So I'm going to buy 15 of these is what I'm going to do. I'm going to paint them that beautiful pink color. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those are going to be coming down here. And we're going to assign them to Belfast loop number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of those going on loop number 2. And the remaining 5 to loop number 3. So that should, in theory, get Belfast moving around via public transport just a little bit better. But there are other things we can do. Here's what I've been thinking. I think I've mentioned a few times the idea of building a light rail system from Belfast to Dundalk to Dublin. I would still like to do that, but I want to focus a little bit on fixing the problems that I have with buses right now, because we're essentially trying to use this Belfast East Coast bus line as a train line. And I feel like the game, I mean, realistically, this bus line kind of exists. You can get on a bus in Belfast. You can get in a bus in Londonderry and it will take you to Belfast. And then through Dundalk and into Dublin. It doesn't typically go further than Dublin. You would have to transfer in Dublin if you wanted to go anywhere else, but that's kind of how it works. You can do that in real life, but this isn't real life. It's a video game. So my thinking is that the better way to run these buses is probably as a service from Belfast to Dundalk and then transfer Dundalk to Dublin, transfer Dublin to Waterford. Essentially, my East Coast line is going to have to go away because I don't think it's not going to work the way I'm doing it. So Belfast to Dundalk is what this first line is going to be. So Upper Belfast, Dundalk Waypoint, Dundalk Holt. Let's just take out you. We'll take out this one and we'll take out this one. And that now gives us a bus line that runs from Belfast to Dundalk. And I'm okay with that. I think that's totally fine. Dundalk Holt is not using all of its terminals. So what we'll do now is get a new line that's going to go from Dundalk right here down to Dublin, right about here. And it's going to go to platform number 1 or 2, actually, because that one's free. That is road passengers. It is Dundalk and it is to Dublin, which is fine. I think we'll make it, let's go for like this sort of light green color, because this is all sort of an extension of that whole thing, right? Of the whole like East Coast line. I'd like to sort of remember that it was a thing. So we'll see what we can do with it. We'll change you out as well to be sort of that light green color. And then we need to do the same thing, right? Dublin to Waterford is the next one. And so here's another little detail about this whole thing. We can now go in and basically take out all but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these vehicles. We'll leave 5 on the Belfast to Dundalk line. The rate is coming way down. The frequency is coming way down. I think maybe we'll leave 10 on that line just so the rate is a little bit higher. But essentially, we're going to put 5 vehicles on Dundalk to Dublin, maybe 5 on Dublin to Waterford, and we can expand it as we need to. That's kind of where I'm at. So I think in this case, we will use the SL192 because I think it just makes a bit more sense for what I'm doing with it, even though the game doesn't really care, but for me, I do. So that's kind of what we're doing. So Dundalk to Dublin is that line right about there. We can go and get another bunch of these guys. So another 1, 2, 3, 4. I said 4. I said 5 of those. We'll get them in the same green. And that is going to be Dublin to Waterford. And so my hope with all of this, now that everything's up and running, now that we have buses coming out of this new depot in Belfast, is that what we're going to see, and we are seeing it already, is a ton of people that now want to get in a bus to go around Belfast, to go to Dundalk, etc., etc. We have a bunch of people waiting in here to go to Upper Belfast, which is fine. We have no one waiting out this way right now, but that's also okay. It's going to take time, right? That's kind of the big thing. It's going to take a while for this to sort of have the effect that I want it to have, but I am hopeful that the effect it's going to have is that it just gives us a much quieter traffic experience in Belfast. I do really enjoy that none of my trucks are using this main road through here. I think that's really good. There are some other improvements we can probably make to this road to get it flowing a little bit. I think all this traffic coming down into Dundalk is a bit of a problem, but again, hopefully what we're doing here with sort of moving some buses around is going to help with that. I'm also thinking Dundalk loop number 1 could be shifted around a little bit here. If we were to send that in, well, maybe not the opposite direction, but I'm kind of thinking we need to cover this area in Dundalk. So let's see. I don't love the idea that it's going to have to cross over itself to get in here. Maybe a new loop would be needed. I don't know. I don't know if we do need a new loop for Dundalk. That seems a little bit silly, although we could. You know what? Let's do another loop around Dundalk. Why not? Let's, we'll have it come over. We'll have it come out to here. We'll have it go, I guess, down this road to about here. We'll have it come out here. We'll have it stop here. It can stop right in the middle of this space. And then it's just going to go back, I think is what we're going to do. We're just going to start doing a bunch of bus lines that just sort of loop back on themselves. And hopefully that's going to get, again, people interested in moving around by bus. All right, so while all of my buses are getting situated and those lines are getting up and running, I want to come down to the Waterford steel mill, because if we look at our suppliers for this place, they are not bringing in the full 800 units of coal or iron that they could be. So very simply, I want to go in here. I want to get this iron to steel line, and I want to take this rate from 539 all the way up to 800. So we'll duplicate these guys to give us 20. That gives us 674. We'll get 5 more to give us 25 vehicles, which gives us 843. That says to me I can probably get rid of 1, and we'll stick with 24 vehicles, which is 810. That is totally fine. When it comes to the coal line, it's going to be a similar story. 1, 2, 3, 4, let's say 5 more vehicles. That gives us 798. I am okay with it. In fact, you know what? No, I want to be able to move the full 800. So we'll have some empty-ish trucks going here, but that's honestly okay. In fact, no, we don't want that many. We'll get rid of 1. We'll go for 18 vehicles, which gives us 843. That's totally fine. So this guy should now be able to make 400 steel, which means the steel to goods line needs a rate of 400, which is going to be problematic because this is going towards Mullingar. It's going towards some really busy roads. I am fully expecting that putting 15 more vehicles on these roads is going to be a really bad thing, but 403 for the rate on that guy should be fine. And you know, I just want to take a look around here and see how we're doing in terms of traffic around. Kilkenny seems fine. This area seems fine. Everything in here seems fine. Everything down towards the south of Mullingar seems fine. We do have a lot of traffic going around this roundabout into Limerick and Galway. We actually have a lot of people waiting to go to Castlebar from Galway, which is amazing. And we have way more traffic using these back roads than I think we should. So suddenly I'm considering the idea that these back roads here might not be the best thing in the world. I think what I'm going to try and do though is go in and change these out for, well, small streets have a speed limit of 19 miles per hour. Small country roads of 37. I'm going to swap these out for small streets, and we're going to see if just using super slow roads will encourage my vehicles to not use these roads anymore. If it works, then great. If it doesn't, then, well, I'm going to have to come up with something else, essentially, is what I'm going to have to do. But looking at it, I mean, this one makes sense. This one's annoying. We'll see. We'll see what happens with that. Hopefully that encourages traffic to go elsewhere. We probably could do with some bus lines that go back and forth here as well, but I'm hoping that our train passenger line thing here, I mean, it's never made money. I'm hoping one day it does. Anyway, coming back to the buses, we have a ton of people waiting in Waterford to go to Dublin, and I've realized Waterford itself doesn't have any kind of loop going around here. It also has an absolute nightmare of roads that I don't know that I want to do anything about, so I don't think I'm going to. I am going to put this guy on platform 3 though, and I think I'm also going to say that Waterford can get its own little bus loop going around here. So let's have a bus sort of come up here. Let's have a bus sort of go up this way. This is just going to be a really, really simple loop around Waterford. I'm not really going to go too crazy with this one in the way that we have for some others. So it's going to come out. It's going to go around that area. This one's going to come out and sort of go down this way, I suppose, which is completely fine. We'll bring it in here. It's going to be a bit of a longer route than the one we just did, but that should be okay. It comes through. It can stop on the opposite side of the other one. So that's technically like a transfer point, and that should be okay. So we'll do a new line. It is going to go from platform number 1, and it's going to come out. It is going to go up to this side of the road. I said the other side of the road. Thank you very much. It is going to go up to here, I think is where I wanted it to go, down and around all of this and up to that stop. And that seems totally fine. It is not on the right platform though. It was supposed to be platform 1 in Waterford branch. Not too sure why it moved. Of course, the game's auto-saving as I try to do this, which is pretty in character for it. We'll make this green though. We'll say road passengers, Waterfords, and loop number 1. and it is now on the right platform, which is perfect. So we'll do the same thing. We'll go another new line from platform number 2. It is going to come out. It is going to go this way and just loop around everything. And this will hopefully get people moving around Waterford in a pretty good way. We want to come down to this stop as well, and it just runs straight back in there. That is going to be loop number 2. And we'll go ahead and say it's also that light green color. And I think we'll also make that little road in front of it, the station that is, into a bus road. A couple of bus lanes right there will make it a little bit easier for traffic to get in and out, which I think is important. We might want to make this road a little bit more chunky, just looking at it. And I'm also thinking that this can actually be brought back a little bit, because I sort of have an idea here. If we bring this right back and we then bring that country road right in here, I don't necessarily want a bridge. I think that's a little silly. So we're just going to turn it into some land, and that'll be okay. We can hit it with a smoothing brush just to hide our crimes a little bit. But my thinking here is that this entire main road, in fact, this entire stretch of that road as well, can be given some extra lanes, just so traffic has a bit of an easier time getting in and through Waterford. And then I suppose for each of the loops here, we'll just do 3 bendy buses. I think I'm okay with that. So we'll get those 3 on loop number 2. And that is Waterford good to go. Hopefully we see some good things out of that. Hopefully people are going to use those loops, especially now that you can get in a bus technically in Belfast, go through a bunch of transfers, eventually get to wherever you might want to go in Waterford. And speaking of Belfast, things are definitely busy right here. It's a very busy station now, but that's okay. If we look at these lines, Belfast to Dundalk has a ton of people on it. Not as many as I'd like, but I'm hoping that'll improve. The airport shuttle, I want to say it doesn't need that many vehicles. I think we can drop this down to 5 vehicles instead of 10. I think we can get away with that. I don't think it's needed. Loop number 1 is over halfway full. Loop number 2 is not. Loop number 3 is getting there, and the train shuttle is how many vehicles? 14. Let's bring that down to 10, just because I think we can maybe get away with that as well. Now, when it comes to Dundalk, we've got a bit of a different story. Belfast to Dundalk, as we know, is doing okay. Dundalk to Dublin is nearly full, so I'm going to go ahead and put, let's say 1 more vehicle on that line for now, just to see how it turns out. I'm hoping we can fill that one. Dundalk loop number 1, meh. Loop number 2, also meh. Loop number 3, actually the best out of the 3 that we have right now. So that's pretty good. And then Dublin itself, we have the Dublin to Waterford line, which is doing surprisingly well. Dublin loop number 1, meh. Loop number 2, pretty good. Dublin to Dundalk, as we know, very good. And Mullingar to Dublin is moving a lot of people, but I do doubt that we need 15 buses on this. I'm going to drop that down a little bit, just because I don't think we're filling that line, and we can save a little bit of money on maintenance by not having too many buses. Oh, now this is a little bit more of what I want to see. We have a bunch of people waiting for loop number 3. There's still not that many people on it, but that's okay. Loop number 2, same story, but again, that's sort of okay. At the very least, there is less traffic backing up on all these roads, except now coming into Belfast, which is slightly surprising. I'm not too sure where all of this traffic's wanting to go, and it seems like a lot of the problems are very city skylines coded, in that it's traffic trying to get into a single lane that's causing all of the problems. So that's a familiar feeling. If you've played the original City Skyline, wait, what is that line? Hold on a minute. What is this? Dublin food to city. Oh, I forgot about you, didn't I? Let's take those waypoints out of there, because I'm hoping. Okay, so that sends it down that way, right? That's okay, but I think we want to do the same thing. I think we're going to send this guy through Dundalk, because I think that just makes a little bit more sense, and that should make it a line that now runs, yeah, the entire length of the coast is a bit more of what I want to see. It comes around here, it goes through Belfast. That seems a little bit better to me. Now, I think part of the reason we're seeing traffic kind of freak out here a little bit is because we have sort of, like dedicated turning lanes and stuff like that. I wonder if the transition into bus lanes is kind of what's going on here. It does seem like it, although a lot of the traffic is also heading out that way, which it's helped me realize, actually, watching some of this traffic, we don't currently have any bus connections from Belfast to either Omagh or Londonderry. We have Omagh to Londonderry itself and back and forth. We have some loops around here. We still have trams going around. Oh no. Oh no. These. Oh no. How old are you? 127 years. Oh no. Oh, you poor thing. Okay. Let's swap you out for something new. That seems like a that seems like a really good idea, to get something a bit new in there. I only feel slightly bad about that. I'm not gonna lie. That's kind of funny. Man, I added those to this place when we had. You remember when we had to worry about horses and carts going up and down all these hills? It's nice not having to care about that anymore. Oh, that's amazing. Okay. I want to get some buses. I don't like this road. This road's going to go away. I know it's a lot of money to get rid of it, but absolutely needs to go. I also want to say that this road is mine. This road is mine. This road is mine. This road is mine. And all of this is mine as well. I would like to, I think we'll keep this, but I want to be very careful with what I allow to connect to all these roads. I want to say that this road can be changed out. This can all be changed out. And arguably this road should probably get upgraded at long last as well. I think we're a little bit overdue. Some of these getting turned into actual roads, which it's kind of a shame to be losing the old dirt roads, but I think it is just a little bit overdue, you know? I did mention not wanting to get rid of these at one point, but it's going to get my traffic moving so much faster, you know? It really is. I think it just makes sense. Anyway, I want to come back up here to Belfast, and I want to add another couple of platforms, which is unfortunately going to get rid of some of these buildings here, which is whatever. That's just the way of things. We're going to have to do a little bit of crime hiding there on the right. But again, we'll do that in just a little bit, because what I want to do here is get a new line that goes from this place, from platform number 9. And that is going to be road passengers. From here, I want it to hit this road because I think that's important to me. And I want it to go all the way along into this guy. So that is going to be our Belfast to Londonderry bus line. That should be totally fine. I think it is going to take the same road back in here, but just to make sure it behaves, I want to put it on that waypoint. And that is road passengers, Belfast to Londonderry. And we will say that that is also going to be, you know what, that's going to be a nice dark blue line, because it typically is. It's typically a, what do we call it? It's like a coach that usually does that. It's like a gold line, I think is what they call that particular line of buses in Northern Ireland. So we'll go with a gold line coach from Belfast to Londonderry. And then from Belfast to Omagh is going to be pretty much the same route. So it's going to be a little bit silly of me to run 2 lines to do this, but I like the idea that we have these options. I think it's important that we have these options, and I think it's gonna be good for everybody getting around here if we have these options. So this will be road passengers. This will be Belfast to Omagh, and I think we'll also make that the same sort of dark blue. We'll get some man buses for this one as well, and they're gonna be that same dark blue color. Oh, I've just realized I should probably, even though it's going to be a little bit messy, I should probably have the Omagh and Londonderry lines go through the airport, because that's a connection that we have available to us. We could come down this way and then send those in sort of the back roads to Belfast, which would save us a little bit of a traffic problem coming through here. So I think we're actually going to do exactly that. At least on the way in. If you're wanting to go to the airport on the way back out of Belfast, you're going to need to, I guess, take the bus that takes you to the airport is kind of my idea. So after Londonderry sidings, we want to go here. is what we want to do. So looking at this, it is going to loop back on itself, which again, I don't love that, but I think that's okay. It comes down this way, it goes in, it is going to cross over itself, which I don't love that. I'm not a huge fan of that, but I'm thinking that's maybe going to give us more options for getting people to the airport, and it might take, I don't know, it might just be good. It seems like it makes sense to me. So we'll do Belfast to Omagh, same thing here. After Omagh transfer, we want to go into the airport at Dundalk North, and we want to see, do we have enough terminals for this? We sort of do. We'll put these guys on terminal 2 because I don't expect it's going to be all that busy, and we'll just see how it goes. We'll hope for the best on that. If it becomes a problem, I can expand it and add more terminals, but there's not that many buses going back and forth there, so I don't think it's going to be a problem. We do have a ton of people waiting for loop number 3, which is filling up a little bit, which we love to see. Belfast to Dundalk, a little bit busier. Belfast to Londonderry isn't. Belfast to Omagh does have people waiting. Airport shuttle, relatively busy. Loop number 1, meh. Loop number 2, very meh. And train shuttle is remarkably busy, actually. But the good news is traffic in Belfast is moving more than it was. Again, except for traffic coming into Belfast, which for some reason is just ridiculous. It is. I am assuming a decent amount of it is coming straight over from Mullingar and Castlebar and Galway. So we might need to expand our connections to fix that, but this is a start. This is halfway there is what it is, because obviously, you know, traffic getting out of Belfast can now get out of Belfast. Oh, now this is a bit of a problem. The Dundalk halt is getting stuck in traffic, even though they're in the halt. I don't like that. So let me see if I can give them a little bit more street access back here, which I don't love the look of, but I think it's just sort of what we're going to have to try and do here. And I want to see if I do this. Is that going to do anything? I really don't know if that's going to do anything, but my thinking was I would just sort of connect it out like this and generally hope for the best with this whole thing. So we could do like a little curve that goes around there. I hate that, but it does actually allow for some of the vehicles to come in through the back of this place, which I think is a little bit better. This line is coming in and going back out that way. This line is doing that. Loop number 1 sort of comes in and goes through, which is fine. I do think we could make this look better though. I think that's kind of important to me. So let me bulldoze some buildings here. And what I'm going to try and do, I guess, is create like a little back alley bus road thing, because these roads here are probably going to get some bus lanes just to make sure that it's only my vehicles using them. So we'll go and say, let's use a small street for now. We'll bring this guy out in a nice straight line to about there. We'll bring this guy down to, let's say, here for now. And then what I want to do is bring it straight out, connect it to there, and we'll bulldoze the excess. Now that I'm okay with. It doesn't look perfect, but I'm probably never going to look at it this closely again after not too long, so I'm not super worried about that. This guy, on the other hand, can we get you to sort of curve up like this? I think I'm okay with that. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. This can all be swapped out for some proper roads. It can be given some bus lanes as well, so it's only my vehicles using that road. And we can hit it with a bit of a smoothing brush just to tidy it up a little bit. We can throw some trees around this guy until some buildings maybe pop up in there, which is possible for sure. But we'll just we'll do this as like a temporary thing. And do I still have vehicles using it? I absolutely do. I'm not expecting that to be, you know, the solution to all of my problems, but I think it'll help a little bit. I'm also wondering if I was to put bus lanes through the middle of Dundalk, would that be a good idea? Because we do have a lot of my vehicles that go back and forth here. Now, I don't think we need them everywhere. I'll be honest. I don't think we need them much further than there. But right through the middle, at the very least, might be a way for me to sort of just get traffic moving the way I want it to. So this is probably about as far as we need to go here, because again, we have a bunch of my vehicles sort of coming around, and we'll just, I guess, keep an eye on it and see what happens, right? That's kind of the idea. We are giving just, you know, private vehicles less room to move here, which I don't love. but it should stop my vehicles from getting stuck, which is ultimately all I really care about. So that's kind of where I'm at. Okay, so this seems like it's worked. We have plenty of my vehicles going through Dundalk now, and a ton of people waiting for the Belfast to Dundalk bus line. It's about halfway full, which is what we're looking for. And then the Dundalk to Dublin line is pretty much full. So I'm going to go in here and put another 2 vehicles on this guy just to make sure that we never run out of capacity. And I want to make sure that this road is never backed up with people wanting to go to Dublin. The Dublin to Waterford line is also full. So let's put another, let's say 1 more vehicle on that just for now, so we don't overdo it. Although I would be curious to see how Waterford's looking for people down here. There's a lot of people waiting, so maybe another vehicle, maybe 7 vehicles on that line is going to be the way to go. It is also nice to see that people are using the Waterford loop, even if it's barely anybody. That's nice. Okay, so this is still not exactly ideal, but it is slowly kind of filtering a little bit. I think we just need to give this a bit more time for traffic to figure out what it wants to do. A lot of this merging stuff is absolutely killing me, and it's really, really slowing traffic down in a pretty major way. So again, I'm just going to give it some time and see how it goes. But this is kind of huge. We have a ton of people wanting to go to Alma. We have a ton of people wanting to get on loop number 3. So loop number 3 now has 7 vehicles, which I think is probably fair enough. I don't love that they get stuck in traffic here occasionally, but they get stuck in my traffic. So it should largely be okay. In saying that, I do think we could maybe afford to just duplicate the number of vehicles going from Belfast to Alma and back. That just seems like a pretty good idea. We also have a ton of people in here wanting to go to, I guess, from here into Belfast is the idea. But with all of the connections that we've made here, I think we're actually starting to see a few more people want to fly to Belfast, which is really, really good news. I'm really, really happy about this one, because it actually means that this line is now profitable, and Belfast to Glasgow is, well, it has the potential of getting there. So all these connections that we're building are having the knock-on effect of making other things a little bit more effective as well. So this might go really, really well for me. And I kind of like that. I do. I like that a lot. I'm very, very happy about it. I will say it does have me wondering whether or not we should have a line that actually does go back, like from, I don't know. So it's Upper Belfast, right? We start here, we go to Londonderry, then we go to Dundalk North. Actually, no, that is exactly what I want. You can go from the city, from Londonderry to Dundalk North. These lines don't need to take you back to the airport because we do have the dedicated one. That's why I set it up that way. Okay, that's good. That should get people. Yeah, that gives us connections for people to fly from Londonderry to wherever they want to go. That's really good. There's a lot of people waiting here to go to Belfast. So you know what? Let's put a bunch more vehicles on that line as well, or at least they're waiting to get on that line. I don't know if they're wanting to go to Belfast or not, but it's the same story up here. There's a ton of people waiting to get on that line, which is exactly what we want. This roundabout's a little bit busier than I would like, but I'm not super worried about that. If we could figure out this merging thing, I honestly believe that this traffic would start clearing out. I really do. This is such a pain. It really, really is. But you know, there is something I'm kind of curious about. I want to see what would happen if we were to have a road connection that went from sort of Mullingar, Galway, Castlebar up to Alma. I don't know how many people necessarily want to make that commute, but I do realize that right now, if you want to go from anywhere, essentially anywhere south of Dundalk, and you want to go to Alma or Londonderry, you are either taking the back road towards Alma, or you're heading to, you know, pretty much into Belfast. You are heading pretty much into, and you have to go into Belfast to then go up to Alma and Londonderry. So I think another connection up that way might actually be a good thing. I just don't necessarily know where that connection should be from. Although I'm kind of looking at this space and thinking that might be it. That might not be the worst spot for it. These roundabouts are already having issues though. I was thinking we could move this road over, connect it to this roundabout. I know we've done that before, and then sort of continue it through these hills towards Oma, but I just don't know if that's a good idea. I really, really don't. I also don't love that this road's getting developed on, but I think I'm going to allow Mullingar to do that because I'm curious to see what happens. This road here might be our best bet. Honestly, I think what we're going to do is take a chance. Again, I know we've done this before, but I'm going to take this chance and just see if I run a road straight through there and I take this road out completely, which has some of my vehicles on it, which is not good at all. So let's just fix that issue a little bit by running a road from here to here and then bulldozing this in order so the vehicles all get pushed back to that road. My thinking, I suppose, is we put another roundabout up here. And I will say, just while we're doing this, I have seen a bunch of comments talking about eventually needing to build some highways and motorways and things like that. I'm trying to avoid it because road connections in this game are not the best, to put it lightly. The lane management, the lane math is a total pain. I do know that there are roads on the Steam Workshop that might help with that. So I'm going to sort of have a look and see what I can do in that regard and see if I can find anything. But for now, I'm going to try and stick with roundabouts. And for now, we're going to see what happens with that. Does this connect down here? That absolutely does. I think I'm okay with that sort of swinging out that way. It might be better if I just sort of bring this guy straight through for now. And then sort of, let's see. This is going to need to go straight through here. So a little something like that. These guys should be able to connect together relatively nicely, I think. We'll be able to make this work. Let's just curve like this. And I think that's all right. We'll take this part out. And I guess all of these roads need a few more lanes just to make sure it works with the roundabout. The roundabout itself can be upgraded to be a little bit higher speed. And I don't have a good feeling about this, to be completely honest with you. I really suspect that these roundabouts are going to get really, really busy, but we're going to see how that goes. We'll smooth all of this out just to tidy it up a little bit. And essentially my thinking is we're going to go through sort of these little valleys that we have here. So let's take a look at our contour lines. It's been a while since we've done this, and let's figure out what we can do to make this work. Now, I will say, I do think we should go down to 4 lanes, and then I think we should go down to a medium country road here, so that we kind of, I don't know, just have a proper little country road going through here. So we'll bring this through. We'll bring this kind of around here, and that should be all right. I think that can run in a pretty straight line for the time being. This isn't super steep here, but I think we're just going to go around it anyway because I can, because I think it's going to look cool, and because it's been forever since I've actually sort of respected the topography a little bit. So I think it only makes sense that we behave ever so slightly. We'll bring this over, which is going to mess with the terrain, but that's okay. We'll sort of bring it a little bit further, which is messing with the terrain, but that's okay. This is where I want to go up and sort of into that space. So that's fine. This is going to come through and into that space, which is, I think, maybe to about there. This then comes through this little valley as well to probably this spot. And let's see, do I continue out this way or do I cut around this way? Maybe both, actually. So what if we built a little section of road here? And what if we built a little section of road here? We can connect those together. A bridge there would look cool, but we can't really have a bridge right there. And then this guy can sort of connect to both of those as well. And again, we're not going to be doing a bridge right there. We just kind of can't. But that means we have the option to bring traffic sort of down this way if it needs to go that way. We have the option of bringing traffic sort of up this way. This road's probably going to be so much quicker though. I really doubt any traffic is going to use this one, but I think it'll look cool anyway. So you know what? We're just gonna sort of commit to this, I think is what we're going to do. Although I realize if I was to sort of connect it in here, this might actually be okay. This might not be a faster alternative to the other road that we've built. So if I bring this guy back and I bring this guy around, that gives us a pretty good looking curve right there. This is obviously disconnected from everything now. So what we'll do is just rebuild this road, so we do maintain that connection. Everything here looks pretty good. We'll turn off the contour lines and upgrade you. And I think I'm okay with that. I think that'll kind of work. Obviously, a little bit of smoothing in here to do just to make it look that little bit better. This connection, I think we're actually going to bring back and we'll sort of redo. So this guy comes out. I think that's only fair that we sort of connect to an existing street. I think this comes all the way back to about there. And can I get this to be just a nice bend straight to that road? I totally can, which is exactly what we're looking for. This is all looking pretty decent. This needs smooth a little bit. This needs smooth a little bit. This can all be sort of smooth a little bit. And I suppose what we do, since that is now a main street through the middle of Oma, is we just upgrade the entire thing and hope that traffic doesn't go absolutely crazy with what we've done here. I'm hoping for the best. I'm really going to be hoping for the best on that one. I think this road can be upgraded just to have some turning options. And I think these guys in here, honestly, same story. We'll just kind of upgrade these a little bit so we have some lane math going on, which is always going to be important. So we have that set up. What I would like to see now is what happens when we run things. This can all stay. I think that's fine. This is all fine. This is good. This is good. We do have this sort of scar on the landscape, so let's do what we've done before. We'll go in here with some bushes, and I just want to just put a bunch of them in there, really, just to make it look like, you know, the forest is just starting to regrow a little bit where we used to have that road. There's some different plants in there too, just to really sort of sell the effect. We'll get some rocks in there again to make it look like, I don't know why there'd be rocks there. I'm going to be honest. I really don't, but I like this. I love that we did this with the train tracks before. I think it looks kind of cool now. So that looks, yeah, that's fine. It's kind of clear there was something there before. I like that a lot. Oh, now I suspected this was going to happen. This is our oldest industry here at the Dundalk Annex. We're still using some really old trucks for the Alma Stone to Bricks line. And because we made this road a bit faster, we have a lot more private traffic that wants to use it now. So I think what I'm going to do is add a station exit. Actually, we'll just add street access back here, because my thinking is that we can access this road up here, this little country road. We can do something like this, and I think that'll be okay. We'll just sort of go straight off at this guy. I think about there should be fine. We'll continue this sort of straight down through here as well, and then connect these guys together, a little something like this. Take out the excess because we obviously don't really need it. I think I'll take out all of this as well, just to kind of level this out so it looks a bit better. And I think that's probably fine. Now, what I would like to do is put some bus lanes on this, because that's going to mean that this road is, interestingly, does have bus lanes, but you don't see them. Let's swap out for this guy instead so that we do see them. And that's going to mean that only my traffic can use that road. Only my vehicles can use that road, and it should make life a little easier. Hopefully. I'm really hoping that it makes life a little bit easier for my traffic. Looking at that line, it interestingly does loop around. That's curious. Okay. If we were to move you to platform 2 at the Dundalk Annex, once the autosave's done, I'm hopeful that that's going to encourage them all to come in this way. Oh no, that's not at all what's happening. That's really interesting. Okay. I need this road connection over here. That's the problem, right? Like I do sort of need that road connection. So if I put it on platform 1 and then take away platform 2, yeah, that's very curious. Okay, well, at the very least, this splits the traffic a bit, so that's fine. Some of it can go out there, some of it can come down here. That's not the end of the world. Anyway, I think we can move towards wrapping things up for today. Down here in Waterford, there are a ton of people wanting to go to Dublin, and that line is full right now. So let's, do I swap them out for bendy buses? I think I do. I think I want to avoid, as much as I don't love the idea of bendy buses doing sort of like intercity transit and using backcountry roads, we're going to lean into the game a little bit instead of what I want for aesthetics. I think the upgrade to more passengers is going to be good. So 1.6 million for that gives us now a rate of 147, which is totally fine. It's still the same number of vehicles on the line. So hopefully we can clear some people out of Waterford and not have this overload. Although I will say we could do something about that. We can add one of these guys and one of these guys, and that just gives us a little bit more room for people to stand around there, and hopefully that's going to help things a little bit. As for Dublin, things are pretty busy. Dublin to Waterford, as we know, is quite a popular line. Dublin to Dundalk is nearly full as well. So I think once again, same story, 10 vehicles getting replaced with the bendy bus version gives us a rate now of 251 and a cargo capacity of 210 people. So that is pretty good. And there are a decent number of people wanting to move around here, which is beautiful, beautiful news. Also, Dublin to Waterford does make money, and Dundalk to Dublin makes money. So that is a couple of new lines that are now profitable, whereas the old East Coast line, I don't think it was. Now, speaking of Dundalk, traffic in here is still a little bit chaotic, but we have a bunch of people waiting to go to Belfast. That line is not making money, but it's close to making money. It is over halfway full, which is what we want to see. The loop number 1 is not making money, loop number 2 is not making money, and loop number 3 is also not making money, but the loops tend to not make money anyway, so that's okay. What I would like to see is this right here, a little bit of profit from that Belfast to Dundalk line, but that might be influenced by the traffic, which, by the way, is improving, I guess, is how we're going to look at this. It is backing up into Belfast still. It is starting to back up coming out of Belfast, which is not good. But this is an improvement over what we had at the start of today's video, so I'm willing to work with this. We also have a bunch of people waiting to go to Glasgow and waiting to go to London. We also have a new train, which is kind of huge. The TGV is kind of huge as well. Very happy about that one. We'll play around with that over in England and Scotland shortly. But I'm almost wondering, do we need more planes? Now, the Belfast to Glasgow line doesn't make money. London to Belfast does, and it's full. So if we go and manage those vehicles and we look at our options and we look at passenger options, we are currently using the 737-100 with a capacity of 20 people. We do have the McDonnell Douglas DC-10-30 with a capacity of 60 people. It is, however, we're going from 1.4 million per year in running costs to 7 million per year. It is a substantially faster and more powerful aircraft, which is amazing, but I don't know about that. We do have the BR Aerospace 146, which is the same capacity. It is slower, longer lifespan, and this would probably be more suited to this actually is very similar to the type of aircraft that you would get on a Belfast to Glasgow flight. So maybe that's an option. Is it more expensive? It is a little cheaper than the 737. So you know what? Let's swap out the 737 on the Glasgow line, just because this is going to be a little bit slower, but that's okay. I think it's going to look more interesting. On London to Belfast, though, I haven't really solved the problem. I don't know that I want to put a McDonnell Douglas DC-10-30. That seems silly. Like 7 times the running cost per year, 32 million upfront cost versus 8 million upfront cost. That's kind of wild. that's kind of wild. It would be a massive increase to our passenger capacity, though. So we could go for like 2 of these instead of, well, actually, no, 1 of these has the capacity of 3 of these guys. So 2 of these would double the capacity of 3 of these planes. It's just so expensive. I don't think we can justify it. I don't think we can justify it. So for now, let's just get another 737 in there, just so we have a little bit higher capacity. We should probably check London as well, now that I think about it, just to see how many people are waiting down there. And you know, honestly, as expected, not that many. There's not that many. It's mostly people wanting to leave Belfast, which checks out. And it's the same story in Glasgow. There's not that many people waiting here. Once again, it is people waiting to leave Belfast. And speaking of Belfast, these numbers are wild. The Belfast to Dundalk line is still doing okay. It started making money. Belfast to Londonderry is making money as well. It's actually almost full, so I think we'll go and put a 7th vehicle on that line just to make sure it does okay. Belfast to Omagh is very nearly full with 102 people waiting in Belfast to go over there. So let's put 2 more vehicles on that line. And you know, maybe we swap those out for the bendy bus as well, just to really crank that capacity. I think the Londonderry line, same story. We'll swap those out for the bendy bus, even if it doesn't make as much sense as I would like. I think it just makes sense. The airport shuttle, doing totally fine. Don't need to swap that one. Loop number 1 isn't making money. That's whatever. Loop number 2, same story. Loop number 3, quite busy. Almost 200 people waiting. There were 200 people when we opened this menu. So that's, loop number 3 is doing really, really well. And the train shuttle is doing really well as well. What I'm thinking is that loop number 3 could arguably use more buses, but the thing is, it's mostly people. I think what's going on is we have all of the other loops contributing to people wanting to go from the Upper Belfast station out to places on loop number 3, because loop number 3 covers a lot of our commercial and industry in Belfast. Because I mean, loop number 2 goes around this neighborhood, which is all essentially, with the exception of Upper Belfast itself, this is all residential. Loop number 1 covers mostly residential with some commercial. Actually, these are residential buildings as well. So these are all residential buildings. Loops 1 and 2 cover residential buildings. Loop number 3 does cover some, actually no, these are commercial. Yeah, so largely commercial and industrial. That's why loop number 3 is as busy as it is. So arguably, we might want to consider a 4th loop that goes in the opposite direction to loop number 3, simply to get more people moving into those spaces. But at the very least, it is popular, it is working, it is moving. This traffic isn't ideal, but it is way better than things were, like I said, when we get started today. So I see this as an absolute win that we do need to keep working with to make it even better. And just because I know some of you were going to be curious, I know I'm curious about it, the little road that heads up to Omagh from the Castle Bar, whatever, this road down here is a nightmare. I don't love it. I do need to do something about it. This is kind of a problem. But this little guy heading up to Omagh is doing okay. There's a little bit of traffic in here. I'm okay with that. I'm not super worried about it. There is some traffic coming out of there as well, which is pretty good. So I would imagine that we are going to see a little bit less traffic heading through Mullingar to try and get up to Omagh and Londonderry, which is perfect. It should make Dublin a little bit better. It should mean that these roads are a little bit less busy, which I think they are. It doesn't look much quieter, but this is an improvement for Dundalk. So again, I see this as an absolute win. And you know, I've just realized Belfast has one more terminal in here. That's terminal 9 that we could use to send a 4th loop around Belfast itself. So as much as I was about to wrap things up, I do sort of want to do this. We also have the new bus stops right here. So let's figure out what direction this thing's going to go in, because I have no idea. I don't love that it's going to be crossing over itself. That does bother me. So I think the way, how do we want to make this work? Where does it go is probably the better question. Let's have a look at loop number 3 here. So it goes out that way, which means, oh man, that's going to be a nightmare to invert. I realize loop number 3, because it doesn't technically, it comes back on itself. We don't necessarily need it to, I really didn't think this through, did I? I really didn't think this through. I don't think we can. I don't think we can do another loop in here. I mean, we can have one that goes in the opposite direction, but we don't really need it. So it might just be a case of putting more buses on that line until it carries everyone that it wants to carry. So you know what? We'll manage the vehicles. Let's do 1, 2, 3. We'll go for 7 vehicles in loop number 3, which is fine. We can save that 9th terminal at Upper Belfast for something else. I don't know what that something else is going to be, but once the game's done auto-saving, we can just put 3 more vehicles in here. And eventually we're going to get bigger buses anyway, so this might just be a temporary problem. The whole, 200 people waiting in Belfast, which, by the way, I want to rename Upper Belfast to Grand Central Station. There's nothing grand about it, but there is a Grand Central Station in the middle of Belfast, which, yeah, it's a thing, right? It's a thing. It's a train station. It's not a bus station, but, well, it's both actually, but yeah, this will be fine. So the last thing I want to do is have a look at all of my road lines and see how they're doing. We can see that the Edinburgh Plankstool City line is making us the most money out of all of these, and we're losing money on Mullingar Fuel to City. We're losing money on Mullingar Crude Oil to Oil. We're losing money on Galway stuff, Dublin. It's all cargo stuff where we're losing money. If we take a look at some of our road passenger lines, we got some loops that are losing money. That's okay. Not super worried about that. I'm kind of curious to see where we're making money though. These are road cargo. We are not making that much money on any of my passenger lines is what this is revealing to me. And that's very upsetting. Dublin to Waterford, almost $1 million though. That's not too bad. Dundalk to Dublin is doing okay. Let's see, Glasgow Loop 1 is apparently doing fine, which is something. Mullingar to Galway. No, Mullingar to Dublin, actually making a bit of money right there as well. Don't mind that. The long and short of it is we are starting to see some money come out of some of those passenger lines, which is better than what we had before. If we look at all of our lines, Liverpool Oil Fuel Docks is still the one making us the most, which is a little bit ridiculous. And we are losing money on Belfast Fuel to Mullingar and Limerick, which I don't love. That's kind of a problem. The light rail line from Castlebar to Limerick, also losing a ton of money. Scarborough Bricks to City, also losing money. Surprised about that. The Belfast to Glasgow line, still losing money, but it's getting there. It's not losing as much as it was, so that's nice. And we have London to Belfast actually making us a decent chunk of change now, which is great. And also, yeah, London to Glasgow making money too. So it's not all bad. I think we're in a better spot now than we have been recently. We still have a lot of work to do, but again, better. Anyway, I think that's going to do us for today. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. This has been an absolute pleasure as always. And as always, I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.